When we got back on the boat, the new drafts were singing and cheering. But there's not a cheer nor a song from us Leave men. Back to the Somme. The nerve-wracking trenches. Even if we were sent to the bottom of the sea, we couldn't go anywhere worse than this. The woods are absolutely thinned out. The roads blocked with fallen trees. Sawing them down was too slow for Fritz. Now he's blowing them down. Dozens of our dear boys laid out in amongst his wires, eaten away by the rats. The only army that grows fat here. This is hell let loose.
This place was beautiful. Meadows and cornfields, woods and rolling hills. Now there's nothing left. Not a blade of grass, not a tiny blade, all churned up and churned again. Chestnut, all torn down and ground to sludge, everything full of corpses, layer upon layer, all churned up and churned again.
They talk of peace. I wish those buggers would come out here and realise matters. Got a chap going mad with shell shock. He's gibbering about the German he's killed. Swears you can see the eyes staring at him. There's 8 cases in the line waiting to be taken down to the aid post. All of them in a funk. Completely gone off their heads.
We are mad with fear and trembling. In the bowel, in the gut, in the mouth like dirty sand. In the darkness of our dreams, fear and trembling.
Kathleen says when they come to the hospital, no one says anything. They hang their heads in shame. If you're serving meals, you have to put the plate down very carefully in front of them so they see you do it. If you so much as put a plate down in front of them in the ordinary way, when they aren't looking, the noise makes them almost jump through the roof.
In the corridors of night, fear and trembling, the living and the dead, the monsters in our head. Curse of Cain upon us. We are mad with fear and trembling.
Anything makes them jump. Just a door banging. One night when she was on duty, one of them went berserk. He got a knife from the kitchen. He wasn't particularly after anybody, just throwing himself about. The other men grabbed him and put him on the bed and sat on him while she sent for the night sister. They took him away to a special hospital after that. Permanent ineffectives, they call them. The hopeless cases.
1916, the year of our Lord. Come a day, go a day. on the Western Front. All Saints, All Souls, Christmas.
It's true. Fritz and us are on absolutely speaking terms. He comes over and exchanges cigarettes. Some can speak English as well as us, and some have worked in Manchester. They told us they didn't want to fight, but they had to. There's never a rifle or a machine gun shot been fired by either side for days. We got orders to fire, but we don't. Officers can't make head or tail of it, but I can't make head or tail of this war. Peace on earth and goodwill to all men, I say.
1916, the birth of our Lord, on the Western Front, on the Eastern Front, in the Alps, in the Balkans, Mesopotamia, Africa. God send peace.
God send peace.
Between you and me, there's a young lady here who has taken my fancy. Her name is Julia. She has just turned 20 and speaks a petit peu Angleterre.
Gee whiz. It's the first time I've been struck comical. She has some lad in the French army. Worse luck. A fine chap, of course. When I told her we were away to Wipers, she cried. So did Emma, Ma, bless her. Wanted to be remembered to my Ma. That's the kind of person she is. Julia gave me her photograph.
Mademoiselle Julia, she has a fiancé, Allegan. I took off her boots. I took down her hair. But nothing else. Oh, but all the French girls. She is one of the best. I have given my heart to Mademoiselle Julia.
12 months today since our advance of July 1st, and still no sign of the finish. I'm suffering from chronic fed-upishness. Saturday tomorrow. What Saturday used to mean to us city blokes in time of peace. To remind you of days to come again. If only, Ma. I don't think such days could ever come again. Not after these long years of uncivilization. To think of the future after the war. It'll be like another world.
Second World War, Korea, Cyprus, Northern Ireland, the Falklands, Bosnia, the Gulf, Iraq, Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria. Let's not forget the bomb disposal lads. Manchester, Birmingham, Brighton, London, still happening. Third Battalion, Royal Regiment of Fusiliers. Infantrymen?
Company storeman now. It was time I had a softer job. Only go up to the line with rations.
Took me out of service.
A blighty one.
Northern Ireland. I'm on a routine patrol in Lenadoon, West Belfast. Don't hear it coming. No crack or thump. I just see my mate go down in front of me. I'm screaming for the medic. Don't realise that the bullet that got him passed right through and hit me. I feel nothing. But then I look down and I see my leg all twisted. The femurs sticking out. My crimson on the pavement. I smell burning flesh. Mine. Oh, pain was worse than 100 toothaches. I think I'm going to die. Start saying the Our Father. I can hear voices screaming, "Die, you bastard!" Thank God for morphine. Surgeon says, under Queen's regulations, point 740, your services are no longer required. And that was it. End of story. That little bit of lead had changed my life. I was 18. How am I supposed to have saved up anything? I go home to Mum and Dad. Nobody speaks about it. I'm sat on the sofa with the pair of them watching Corrie, and it's unreal. I'm thinking, how'd you do this? How'd you make that transition from soldier to civilian? I have a fear of crowds, Belfast accents. I don't realise till years later when I'm at the doctor's with my ex-wife, most of us have divorced by the way, that have got post-traumatic stress disorder. Shell shock. Things have come on a bit since your day. When you come out of theatre now, you have trauma risk management. It helps, but there's still a lot of lads in crisis. Afghanistan, they can't go back, and they can't face normality. My mate, the lad who got it in Belfast, he had to have a permanent colostomy bag. And that's a life sentence when you're 18. He committed suicide. Oh, no, Tar.
Blimey. Tommy Atkins refusing a fag.
Oh, hey, no smoking. This is the future, mate. A public place.
Gee whiz. Who'd have thought?
Believe me, mate, there's lots of things you'd never have thought.
And things you can't even begin to imagine.
Soldiering on, 100 years have come and gone. Shuffle the deck and play the game. See who trumps the other's claim.
Bodies rotting.
Bodies burning.
Sodden sandbags, stinking soldiers.
Human feces in the rivers.
Stale cooking.
Wet peat.
Chlorine.
Cordite.
Vomit.
Vomit.
Lice.
Fleas. Flies.
Western Front, 564,715 dead. 2,261,502 wounded.
Official figures, gotta be more. No contest.
Batteries blazing, shells shrieking.
Aircraft howling, mortars whining, sniper fire, machine gun fire,
Horses wailing.
bottles smashing, kids screaming, bin lids bashing.
Cries of the dying. Cries for stretchers!
Nerve agent detection alarms.
Silence. Bivvy in a pigsty.
Sheep shed.
Mud pond.
Graveyard.
Blimey.
Fibromyalgia, cancer.
Gas pneumonia. Gangrene.
Arthritis, migraine, knee pain.
Lumbago. Bronchitis. Rheumatism.
Amputation. Dysentery.
Deafness.
Trench foot. Crap DMS boots.
Bloody useless gun boots.
Webbing that shrinks.
Tin pot helmets.
Substandard equipment. Not like the Americans. It doesn't stop there. When you come home, the baggage in your carrying gets heavier and heavier. I got a mate who's in Desert Storm. His family connections go back to your war. He's a strong lad. He loads the gun, all 64 ton of it. They break through enemy lines, nerve shredding. At one point, he sat on top of a gun on its side in a minefield. But what gets him is the aftermath. He goes over to the enemy's trenches, and what he sees is young lads burned and charred in rags under makeshift bits of plastic. Nothing has mentally prepared him for this. 3 years later, he's out of uniform.
There was a time I felt at home. Wherever I went, that was one of the best things. No roots, no cultural heritage. That was never how I saw myself. I listened to Bowie, read The Face, write my blog in Baghdad. Now this has changed. You see a name, you see a passport. I'm stuck with people, things I don't belong with. You come as liberators. I don't believe the help others to be free talk. I don't believe in altruism in politics.
How do we win hearts and minds? You tell me. Half the time, we don't know what the enemy looks like, and I don't just mean out there. Take Iraq. I'm talking 2003. Know what's going on now? We answered the call. Believed we were doing the right thing. Achieved our objective to force a change of regime. Counted our dead and came home. Suddenly they're saying it wasn't legit. We were the bad guys.
It's a funny game, war. It's hard to keep that smile, damn your smile appearance, but you owe it to your pals.
Hey, your family. A closer-knit family than most on Civvy Street.
Camaraderie.
Oh, they're from the day you join up. You with your regiment, your mates.
Following the Bosch up, not knowing what your next move will be.
Not knowing if what's coming over is an active service unit or herd of cows.
Terrifying.
Hey, and fun. All right. There's a lot of experiences you don't want, but we've lived. We've all really lived.
Mrs. Burke, 6 Bank Place, Salford. I know what it is. I can't read it. I know what it is. Mrs. Burke, you must harden yourself to bear this awful blow. Your son was killed by shell burst, taking rations to the line.
Somewhere in Flanders, he passed out of the sight of men. Such an upright and willing boy, his cheerfulness so helpful. Let the knowledge of his worthiness ease your heart.
My son, blown to pieces. My boy, blown to pieces. No, not pieces. Nothing. My son blown to nothing. Not a bone. Not a single bone. Not even ashes. Nothing. My son is nothing. My boy with 1,000 other nothings blown to nothing. Did he feel it? Oh, did he feel pain? Between something and nothing, do you feel pain?
Ma?
Until I came to this place, how beautiful a word.
The word mother's like an Irish jig. It dances in your heart. It's dancing, Ma. It's still dancing.
remember what you've seen, what you've heard for a day or so, then you'll forget. Everyone forgets. Everyone says, "I'm so sorry for your loss." Then they forget. It's not your loss, so you forget. It's not your loss. Everyone forgets. It's not your loss until it is your loss.
Wipers. One veteran, his grandfather fought on the Somme. The old man never spoke about it until the day World War II was announced on the radio. And he turned to his daughter and he said, "Get down on your knees and thank him that yours are too young to go." You don't have that fear. But you feel that fear if it's your son or daughter out there. Your heart's in your mouth. You stop listening to the news. Technology today is phenomenal. Soon, our services will no longer be required. We'll all be out of uniform.
Soon we'll be back, surplus men, not heroes, living time bombs in the pubs, in the home. Nothing to live or die for.
We'll need help, but we're not helpless. We go where civvies fear to tread.
We see the kids on the streets, wired, armed, viral, not heroes, living time bombs, nothing to live or die for. We know how to reach them, your damaged boys. We know how to reach them, your damaged boys. Will let us in, will let us in.
We have a lot to offer. If you let us, we can be useful.
The year of our Lord, come a day, go a day in the Western world. Soft brain. Who are we? Who shall know our name? Without memory, we fall into deep space. keep us here. No man's land. This place we call home for a short while. One breath, we are gone. We are the stars. We are the darkness. We are custodians of remembrance.
came to the museum about 4 or 5 years ago and absolutely fell in love with the space. I just thought it was extraordinary.
Boats, trains, barns, how we get hearted, no! Eats, look out, there's something in the wind!
How can I use this space to tell a BBC Philharmonic story about where we are now?
Chlorine gas, phosphine gas, fixes playing dirty, how we get hearted, no! How we get hearted, no!
Well, I got the commission from Martin, and the only brief really was to find a soldier who fell, or not, who survived, from Salford.
Looking at it too.
So I got online and did a bit of, trawling through, and then found Pat. And then I approached them and asked if I could read his letters. And then I went to the reading room, and I was amazed to see how many letters he'd written.
Growing up, I'd obviously known a bit about Arthur Patrick because my grandpa had the letters in the loft. So we'd go around as kids and he'd tell us a few stories, but I hadn't actually read the letters. And since we found out about it, my dad's done a bit of research and brought a lot of family, the wider family that we'd never met from Ireland and all over England together for this night.
My word, it's a very different battalion now. There are very few of the old lads left. In my own platoon, there's not a one I know. That was at the Battle of the Somme, but the letters did start off very optimistically in 1915 when he went to the front, and then they did get darker as the years progressed. But he did have a real sense of humour as well. He always kept his spirits up and told the family not to worry.
Things merry at present, all eager to have a pop at the Bosch.
During our performance, the walls will be covered with imagery, films and archive that we've collected with Soup Collective, they're our partners in this, that also give us a backcloth, but a background, a new insight, a further insight into Pat's letters.
It's been a while in the making, something like 15, 18 months worth from the initial meetings. We do a lot of the big picture shows in this space, so we create content and shows for their media system that plays out on around 20 screens in this room. What we got asked to do was, could we do a live performance in here? Could we use that system and develop a live performance for the BBC Philharmonic to create this show?
The words that our singer is singing that Di's set are real words. They're words that were written by a real soldier. So I think the responsibility runs deep, and the music then has to be very truthful and somehow has to work on a much deeper level.
Like when I read the script, and I knew, okay, there's going to be an orchestra in it and stuff, and I thought, oh yeah, that'll be cool. But then hearing it, it's just something completely different and going, oh wow.
And like the middle of summer.
Connected with Pat Burke because he's a real working class person. He happened to be from Salford, but his case is mirrored all over the country from any industrial city in this country. There's 1,000,001 Pat Burkes who went into this conflict and who experienced what he experienced. Surgeon says, under Queen's regulations, point 740, your services are no longer required. And that was it. End of story.
I thought the whole piece was just amazing. The use of the song, actors and the music just really brought the whole thing to life. But I particularly liked the trench warfare, where through the use of instruments, you were there in the trench, and it was just so moving.
I thought it was extremely emotional. I've spoken to some of my family and they think an emotional performance, having read the letters, knowing the situation that he was in, and also knowing the end of it, where it was an extraordinary bit of music and performance.
I thought the overall piece was an extremely moving piece. It just encapsulated the whole futility of warfare. All of a sudden, you realise the families back home suffer as much as the people at the front.
It does get you every time, the script gets you every time, and It really just blindsides you at the points where you think you'd be hardened to it after this amount of exposure to the script, but it's amazing.
One of the things that came up last night was that it's not a biopic of Pat. It's not meant to be a staged biography. So that I've fused his letters with other letters, so that it is more global, and it does represent more, what was going on for those guys at that moment, whether they were German, whether they were Italian or Russian or British.
I've loved the reactions we've had. I've been talking to people, and people have got a different take on war. And I've also met the relatives of Pat, the descendants of Pat, and talking to them about their experience and what they feel about what we've done with Pat's story. I felt that we've done something that's been very significant and very impactful on people's lives.
It's not just about Pat, it's not just about 100 years ago, it's about everything that's going on now. It asks big questions. And so doing it here with all of this around us, I knew it was going to be powerful, but I didn't quite realise how it was going to hit you between the eyes like it does.